Did he ever tell you he was the best ever?
Yes. I mean, you know, he wanted to be humble about it, but it's, you know, sometimes the pride would come up, and he'd be like, "Your daddy was the greatest to ever do it."
Can I get a refill, please?
Coming right up. Excuse me. Are you all right?
Yeah. No. It's a long story.
Well, I like stories. I'm considered a bit of a storyteller myself.
My husband, you heard of New York's Noah?
The guy who's building the ark.
That's him.
I love that story. Knowing the ark. You know, a lot of people miss the point of that story. They think it's about God's wrath and anger. They love it when God gets angry.
What is the story about then, the Ark?
Well, I think it's a love story about believing in each other. You know, the animals showed up in pairs. You know, they stood by each other, side by side, just like Noah and his family. Everybody entered the ark side by side.
But my husband says God told him to do it. What do you do with that?
Sounds like an opportunity. Let me ask you something. If someone prays for patience, you think God gives them patience? Or does he give them the opportunity to be patient? If they prayed for courage, does God give them courage, or does he give them opportunities to be courageous? If someone prayed for the family to be closer, do you think God zaps them with warm, fuzzy feelings? Or does he give them opportunities to love each other? Well, I gotta run. A lot of people to serve. Enjoy.
Okay, we are live here at Game On. I'm here with Anthony James and Craig.
Hi, as always.
And Craig Collins. Craig Collins here is from Course Preschool Sports here in Avon Lake, and K4 Sports as well. We have a chance to talk on a lot of realms of social emotional learning, of course. We're going to continue talking about the communication. I know with AJ here, we had a great conversation last week. We had the opportunity to really talk in detail about the communication, talking about injury,
Yes.
getting more in detail in regards to how coaches, how players both need to communicate.
Correct.
And I think you did a great job of really giving some detail on all that.
I think a lot of our talk was more talking about that upper level, once you get to that middle school, 8th grade level and up.
Absolutely.
So I'm excited about today.
Absolutely. So we're gonna talk with Craig here on preschool sports and at K through 4. You know, and when we cover everything here, we're covering, of course, Anthony and I and Gary Lane. We cover all different avenues. You know, in Project 3, which is our main topic all the time, we're covering all ages. We're covering all spectrums. We're looking at the social emotional growth. We're looking at really we're looking at time, because communication, it talks about time, and we only have so much time to communicate, or there's no communication at all. So to go along with that, you know, some topics that we're really tying into this week on how to communicate with truth, ethics. That ties with that.
Yeah.
Clear communication, understanding each other. You know, there we go on that. Or just abusive acts as business owners, as regards to good communicators, coaches, players, leaders, employees.
Yeah.
There's either good communication or there's an abusive act going on. So that's important.
And normally those good employees, when it's bad, they're gone.
Right.
They find another avenue.
Absolutely.
Better job.
Absolutely. So we're going to talk a lot about that in detail, and then we're going to actually talk about, we had some lead-ins here this week, you know, Mike Tyson, a guy that I really, honor what he has done and throughout his life and turning things in a very positive way. Again, as we know, way back in 1996, 97, I worked with him and did my internship with him. But we're also looking at some great lead-ins, talking about a teacher making a mistake on purpose to get the reaction of what everybody else really thought, looked at, and how they social-emotionally transpired their acts. So we'll talk about that more as we go on. But let me introduce Craig. I'm going to let him take the floor. Again, I say this wholeheartedly. Craig is one of the best that I've ever seen. As I've worked all throughout the country, I work internationally on my consulting avenue, and the fact that he is one of the best I've ever seen when it comes to working with the youth, working with that K through 4, that preschool avenue, which I salute my hat because you're amazing.
Thank you.
You're amazing at what you do. So, Craig, if you want to just talk a little bit about your passion for what you do, how long you've done it, and it's just been a couple years, right?
It's been a couple. I've been out on my own for 13 years and started preschool sports in Avon Lake when there was nothing, and have been able to build it up where we run sports all year long, run camps during the summer, leagues per se. The thing that we don't do is we don't run something that we keep score at. So preschool sports is designed for ages 3 to 5. K4 sports is kindergarten through 4th grade. We'll run basketball, lacrosse, cheerleading, volleyball, soccer, football, t-ball, and a variety of different camps. Probably one of our more popular classes is our multi-sport class for preschoolers, where we do a different sport each week. Preschool is ages 3 to 5 again, and that's hard. Some parents want to see their children at age 2.5 in the program, and I've made exceptions for that. But it is geared for the children to learn, to have fun, to get acclimated to a sport. When you look at all of our athletes nowadays, starting in 4th grade to middle school, they're now having to pick what sport they want to do, and they have to concentrate on that sport year round, and then they have to play club sports if they want to make their high school team. So at preschool age, I want them to have fun. That's the most important.
That's awesome. You know a little bit about middle school and high school athletics. You coached many years at both avenues, and translating that, to we were having a talk. Anthony and Craig and I were having a talk before we went on the show live here. The fact of the matter is how it really transpires from the fact that learning and how you teach the student athlete. I love how Anthony calls the student athlete. The fact that they learn at a young age how to social emotionally interact, how to communicate, how to be respectful, how to have good ethics, the communication that I know Anthony wants to really talk about here soon as he's over my shoulder saying, let's get into this, is the fact of the matter how the student athlete communicates with the coach and the coach communicates with him. At such a young age, you do just an amazing job of teaching that and keeping that communication with that youngster so that, let's be honest, when they get into that middle school age, they know how to communicate. When they get into that high school age, they know how to communicate both ways. And when they get on the higher levels, it's even more valuable and important. And let's be honest, I think you might know a couple of 50-year-olds. I might know a couple of 40, 45, 46, 47, 48-year-olds, 49-year-olds, and you might know a couple of 30-year-olds that just don't know how to communicate as well.
You're implying age here.
And 20-year-olds as well. I mean,
So let's go in the realm of how you
about
start
40?
them off. 40. There we go.
can I say one thing before we kick into it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Craig, I love the one thing that you said. Players do not have to get into one sport at that middle school, high school. Parents, coaches, let them play as many as possible because that's where they learn to compete, get better
That's right.
at everything in life.
Save
Not
their
just
body.
one sport. It's not about one sport. It's about future, life. Because sports, only 1% of us is going to get on to that next level after the 7% goes to college.
Absolutely.
So the more the merrier. My own son, I try to push him, hey, I want at least 2 sports.
I love it. What you're really saying is be an athlete, don't be a cheerleader.
Yes.
And I like that. Be involved, have the understanding of what the ethics and what it pertains to, how to be an athlete, how to compete the right way, along with the communication.
So I do apologize before we got started.
I like it.
I love that. The more sports, the merrier for student athletes.
I like it. Okay, so Craig, in regards to the social emotional aspect, the state of Ohio, and I love it that Anthony very respectfully interjected and got into us here. I love it. No, don't be sorry. It's awesome. The fact that you brought in a great point. Anthony, that social emotional communication is being taught by you, Craig, throughout the community the right way. and now they understand as they grow, age by age to adulthood, on how to communicate. See, can you tie in some of the ways that, you know, you do such a great job at that?
I think one, you have to make it fun. Two, it's the tone. You can't be monotone. You need to make it fun in your voice. There's times when you can raise your voice per se to get their attention, especially if a large group of preschoolers. There's techniques that you can use.
That's not yelling.
That's not yelling. That the preschoolers, teachers use, where, you know, they'll ask them to grab a bubble when the teachers talk or turn on their listening ears. Those are all part of what I teach at the very beginning of my class. We teach them not to be afraid. It's okay to make mistakes.
I love it.
And, you know, we have little ones that are very, very shy, and this is their first opportunity to be in a group and in a sport. So I just need to make sure that all of them have fun and all of them have the same chance. That's been my MO, I guess, so to speak, for the last 20-some years that I've been doing it. And I've learned from other educators. I've learned from other coaches. You know, I'll watch high school, middle school coaches and see them do drills. The question is, how can you take that drill and break it down to a 3-year-old and make it simplistic and make it fun?
Absolutely. That's awesome. We have pre-videos that take place all week before we have our interview, and one was about the teacher making a mistake on purpose, but more so to see the reaction. And it showed, and it showed that the fact that, you know what, so many of us out there in society have no problem wanting to try to criticize on something that's really not even worth taking a minute on. It's not even real. No. The fact of the matter is, it's something that just happened, and it's social emotionally accepting that's just what happens in the real of life being life. But we have no problem trying to criticize. Although, when excellence occurs, that so many of us don't want to compliment, you know, and don't want to just say, hey, great job, this is amazing, let's talk about the amazing things that's there. Or you use the word afraid. So many youngsters and individuals are so afraid to talk about, you know, something that's new, something that's real, something that's awesome. And what you do is unique, Craig. You know, I mean, there's not a lot out there that's done not just what you do, but how you do it and how amazing you do it. And I think that's a great, you know, statement that needs to be heard everywhere.
Well, with my age group, it's getting them to communicate, period. There's not a lot of talking. They might have a friend there that they might talk with, but they're in a brand new setting. They're in a setting of anywhere from 15 to 50 kids, first time in a class, first time that they've had a teacher. Some of them aren't even in preschool classes. So it's getting everyone acclimated, and that's why our first week we want to have fun and make it real simple.
Gotcha.
And then from there we'll try and advance and actually teach a skill or two a week.
I love it. You know, the fact you're saying adults don't have no communication. Just joking.
Yeah.
So in that avenue, I'd like to, you know, tie in with Anthony, because I appreciate, you know, the topic that you bring up here, Craig. But, you know, in fact, you know, Anthony, we talked a little bit last week, and we talked in regards the fact that, you know what, there are injuries that occur. You know, there are topics that occur, the challenges that occur, and still, I don't care if you're age 5 or if you're age 45. The factor that there are individuals that just do not understand how to communicate with challenges, and you know what? Realistically, it's shame on both sides of the coin, because the fact that I had a great conversation today with a youngster. Actually, 2 great conversations with 2 different youngsters about talking to your coach, talking to your business owner, and talking to everybody in regards to how to go ahead and open up communication. Because if the other person's not going to do it, okay, but guess what? On the realm, if they're not communicating, then they're probably communicating to others. So looking to the right, looking to the left, looking all over for help, because they can't do anything on their own.
Right, and it's also reading their body language too, which, you know, as a coach, that's one form of communication. Sometimes they might not be audible with it, but you have to have those